just woke up and the deer have been walking around all night. This one's right outside my tent. Happy 4th of July! It's the morning of the 4th and I just hiked out of the Cove Mountain Shelter a little bit ago. I got there last night and there was one guy there. He said his trail name was Thru-Hike and he was playing guitar, which was nice. He was pretty good with guitar and singing, playing songs that I know, so that was cool. Nice little reprieve at the end of the day because I was in a world of hurt between the heat and chafing and being raw and blisters, and it was a rough day. And unfortunately I think today's going to be more of the same, at least heat-wise, because it was hot all night, hard to sleep. I was sweating before I even got out of my tent this morning, and we also had a lot of deer wandering around the camp last night. Better than bear, but they make a lot of noise, so they kept waking me up, and it was a semi-sleepless night. But this morning I am all set, ready to go. There was no water at the shelter, so I carried some up from the creek about 3 miles back, and I have to go another 3 miles to get more. But I've got a liter left, and I'm gonna kind of ration that till I get down, up or down the hill. I don't know. There's a lot of ups and downs on my itinerary today, but anyway, that's what I'm doing. Well, I'm really raw from my pack rubbing, and it's blistered and oozing and just yuck. So I've got my camp towel. I don't know if you can see it, but I stuck my camp towel back in there, and right here, and it's going down my shoulder, and seems to be helping to buffer it a little bit, but I'll see how the day goes. And I get to meet my friend Little Feet later, who's a section hiker I met back at near Big Bald, and she's coming out to hike with me for a few days. So I'm hoping when she gets here, maybe she can help me do a little first aid on that and alleviate some of the pain. But nothing I can do but keep going, so I'm off. Well, I've been hiking about an hour, and I found these rocks. They look like a nice place to stop and take a little break. With the heat, I've been trying to take a break every hour, hour and a half or so, and just rest. For some reason, just being hot and sweaty and increases the fatigue, and also seems to amplify the magnitude of any pain that I have, including my back. So I'm just doing my best to find the balance between taking it easy and making the progress that I need to make. I had initially planned to do 17 today. I meet Crystal near the end of that, but I think, Crystal's Little Feet, sorry. I think actually we'll probably end up doing 12, and she'll come in from where she's joining the trail and backtrack a little bit to meet me, just because it's so hard to hike with this heat, and it's muggy, and so you sweat and you don't even get cooled off. It just sticks to you and drips down everywhere. And yeah, that's July in Virginia, so I should be used to that. I know I'm a Florida girl, but yeah, doing that with 25, 30 pounds on your back is not an easy feat. And I feel like I should be getting better at it by now, but for some reason I'm still having just as much trouble, and maybe I'm being too hard on myself at my age. But yeah, it's challenging, and it kind of messes with your mind. I sort of think of Virginia as the state of mind games. They call it the Virginia blues, but if you think about it, you know, for a lot of people, or like me, I'm behind the bubble, so my friends have gone on, or a lot of them are off the trail, and it gets very quiet, kind of lonely. Yeah, so it's a whole different dynamic than it was back in April and May, and makes me glad that I'm going to be shifting up my hike a little bit. But I do have some schedule changes. The surgery that I mentioned the other day has been pushed out a few days, so I need to reassess where I'm going to be and when, and get all that worked out. But I am actually looking forward to jumping further north and rejoining a little bit more of the bubble, the people, the social aspect, which I guess is more important to me than I realized. I think of myself as an introvert, but I guess I do like having people around. So I'm not an extreme introvert. I guess I'm an ambivert maybe. But anyway, that's kind of what's on my mind this morning. I'm looking forward to seeing Crystal and Little Feet. And I'm also looking forward to getting to the bottom of this hill, because that is Jennings Creek, and I hear there's a swimming hole there, and that'll be my first time to jump in if I take the plunge today. I am working my way down the hill towards the campground and the swimming hole, which I'm really looking forward to. And I just passed a hiker who saw me, and he says, "I recognize you." His name was Reed, and he watches the videos, so thank you, Reed. And we had a good chat, and he gave me some advice on the Thunder Hill shelter, which is where Little Feet and I were thinking about staying if we can manage to get out 17 today. But he kind of recommended that we go ahead and stop stop at the shelter before that, which was our plan B, just because of water issues and bear activity and things like that. So glad to have that feedback. I really appreciate it, and it always lifts my spirits when I run into somebody who's been enjoying the videos. So yeah, that makes my day a little bit better. Thank you. I'm about to head out after a nice little break here at the creek. I actually jumped in, my first time taking advantage of a swimming hole. And Thru-Hike stopped by, jumped in, and went on hiking. And then Steph's over there, and she jumped in as well. And I spent a little bit more time here, but I gotta go hike on and meet Little Feet, so I'm off. I just left the Bryant Ridge shelter, which is right along the creek, and I would call it the Taj Mahal of shelters. It was even fancier, I think, than Partnership. It holds about 20 people. Has a nice big porch and a loft, and lots of gnats. Unfortunately, with the heat and the water nearby, lots of gnats and mosquitoes. But I was hoping to stay and take a nap, but the bugs were too bad, so I decided to hike on and tackle this 2,000-foot hill so I can get up to the next shelter and meet up with Little Feet. But I think because this climb is about 4 miles, I'm hoping that it won't be too terrible, because the heat and the humidity out here is just seems to be cutting my speed in half and sapping my energy at warp speed. So I'll do the best I can, but it's a challenge. Well, this is Black Rock Cliffs, just a little ways off the AT, and we stayed at Cornelia's shelter last night and been hiking for, I don't know, a mile or so. It's not too far from the shelter. Beautiful views, especially with the fog coming in. And this is Little Feet. She came out to hike with me, so I'm very excited to have some company for a couple days. And she came by here yesterday and told me it was amazing. Otherwise, I might have missed it, because sometimes I'm lazy and skip the views. But it sure is pretty. Well, here's something I haven't seen on the AT. A legit staircase. If only it was an escalator, I'd be really happy. Look at these gorgeous things I just saw. These are gorgeous. This is up near the top of Apple Orchard Mountain. And it's pretty overcast today, which is saving us from some of the wicked heat, even though it's super humid. But really liking the trees, and the trail is very well groomed, which is nice. Up ahead's the aviation tower that we've been looking forward to seeing. Rumor has it that there's a building there with power outlets outside, so we can charge up our stuff.
Smaller phones that'll fit in my little pack thing.
We just came around the bend and saw this huge, it's probably 4, almost 5 feet tall. And you can see my hand, how big that flower is. That's amazing. That is really stunning. So,
going through the guillotine.
all right. Hope that rock doesn't decide to fall on me right now.
How cool.
Yay! We just came across the Blue Ridge Parkway, and there was a spring down the hill. You can't even see the path, but came down this way through all those bushes, and it's a beautiful little spring coming out from under this rock here. And that's a pretty typical water source. It's actually a beautiful water source because it's flowing really well, and a lot of the water has been out lately. But we're loading up and get ready to continue on. We stopped at Thunder Hill Shelter for a break, and I was so excited to see a bear box here. I haven't seen one of those, well, since the Grayson Highlands, where they had to put one in because the bear was so... Yeah, I thought it might be a deer. It was noisy. We heard something going through the bushes. Anyway, somebody had told me that some of the shelters here have cables and boxes, which is awesome. You know, I know we depend on hikers to hang their food, and I always do, but some people don't, so that helps. We found this cool little overlook in the middle of the woods, and I was wondering why there was parking close by. Now I know. People are going to come up and see this amazing view. What a great spot for a picnic. Even though it's hazy, it is beautiful. So I checked Gut Hook, and this is the Thunder Ridge Overlook, and it really is something. We're gonna stop and have a snack and just enjoy the view for a few minutes before we hike on.